Sideline Sports Show. For a Wayne to the world. Brice got the box score, calm on the mic. Pulling up numbers from last Friday night. Sack gyms packed, rivalries loud. He'll tell you who balled out, who hyped the crowd. DC slide in with the hold up weight. Spicy little rant, that's a hot take plate. Colts talk, Pacers talk, all in the mix. Midwest mind with that ESPN fix. Hey! Sideline Sports Show, Brice and DC. From the Fort Wayne courts to the big TV. Indiana Hoosiers dream.
6 years ago today, this show went off the air. 6 years ago, but it's back. It's been back for a few months now. And for those that don't know, that we were a radio show every Sunday morning. Earlier than this time that we are currently doing the show. But nonetheless, we were a radio show that has come back in a different format, but still the same vibes. I'm Brice Vance. That's DC Hendricks. This is the Sideline Sports Show on a Sunday morning on YouTube, Facebook, DC Hendricks X profile, wherever you're watching, even after the fact. Thank you so much for tuning in. We have a jam-packed show. DC, I was filling out the show sheet yesterday, and it's just topic after topic after topic with this show because it's so many things going on in the world of sports right now that it's hard to keep track of because you have basketball, high school basketball, college basketball. Today's Selection Sunday, and
boiler up, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
My bad. We have a Big Ten Conference Championship game to talk about later in the show, with Purdue being in the final, even though their path to the final was pretty easy. But just had to throw some dirt on it. Just had to throw some dirt on it. Just to get you riled up, because I knew it would get you riled up.
Get me riled up. We're playing in the Big Ten Championship. Just curious. Just curious. Where's IU playing?
They're practicing in Assembly Hall for next year.
Oh, they do practice. I didn't know that. I couldn't say.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell.
I couldn't tell either. Losing to Northwestern the second time this past week.
I didn't know if Indiana Hoosiers practice basketball or not. I wasn't sure, but at least they're getting ready for next season already.
Yeah, that's all we're going to talk about the Hoosiers today, because I'm sick and tired of talking about this team, as we have done so on every single show since we started bringing this back. I'm just tired of talking about them.
You threw shots at my Boilermakers, so you knew they were coming right back.
I know, but I'm just so tired of talking about this team. It's I hate watched the game this past week. I knew they were going to lose. Even when they were up at halftime, I'm like, this team doesn't care. This team doesn't care. So, and I'm glad I don't have to watch them anymore this year. So that's it. That's it for Indiana Hoosier basketball talk. If you came to
the season,
for the season. If you came to hear anything about the Indiana Hoosiers, you can go find another podcast to listen to, because I'm not talking about them anymore. That's for damn sure. All right, so let's talk about some good things in the sports world. But before we do that, we do want to give our thoughts to the Epps family from the Homestead. If you have not heard, Maya Epps, Homestead star on the girls basketball side, was involved in a car accident this past weekend. The update came in this morning, and she is in stable condition. Her back surgery went well, and that's good news, because if you were paying attention to social media whatsoever this past weekend, it was pretty nasty, and you hate to see some of those rumors circulating around about not only just a high school athlete, but here locally. It's just unfortunate for people to just run these accounts that are just spreading wild, that just spread this news wild, and it's obviously just been exacerbated over the last handful of years. So we are thankful that she is doing well, doing better after the accident, I believe on Friday. and just thoughts with her family and the rest of the Homestead community. So.
Yeah, absolutely. You hate to see that stuff. You've seen the report on the news, the crash at Jefferson Point, and then immediately people start running to social media because there was a report of a casualty, a death in the crash, and people were running to social media speculating without knowing anything and saying that Maya Epps was the one that was lost. So very quickly, the family and Homestead girls basketball account jumped in to assure reports that she was in stable condition, and she got her back surgery this morning. But definitely, and there's a GoFundMe page if you haven't seen it yet, set up for the family to help them with health expenses and everything during this tragic time. I retweeted it on both of our accounts on X, Brice and DC, and at DC Hendricks as well. But you can also see it on I think it was the 260 Sports account that shared it, Summer City Sports that shared the account. I think Homestead shared it. So it's everywhere. So if you need the direct link to the GoFundMe, just hit us up and we'll send it directly to you as well. But definitely, if you're able to help out with this family during this time, definitely do so, because it's always rough around, dealing with these kind of unexpected expenses.
Yeah, for sure. Nobody expects to see their child get in a car accident. So anything you can do, if you are able and willing to give to the Epps family, I'm sure they would definitely appreciate it. So let's move on to some high school boys basketball that happened yesterday. We had, I think, 7 regional champions out of yesterday, and we're going to have New Haven boys basketball coach Brandon Appleton on here in about 10 minutes after the Bulldogs won their first ever regional title, defeating West Lafayette yesterday.
Let's go.
And we're going to get his thoughts on the game yesterday, what it took to get this program to this point, because New Haven's had some good teams in the past, but this team feels a little different. And we'll talk to Brandon Appleton about getting this team to their into the furthest point in the tournament that they've ever been. So we also had Homestead beating Harrison handily. We had Snyder knocking off Carmel, who Carmel beat Fishers last week in the sectional championship game. Fishers was the number 1 team in the state, so Snyder beats the team that beat the best team in the state, and they're moving on to semi-state next weekend. I believe Homestead and Snyder might face each other next week. I think obviously they're in the same semi-state. So then you have Columbia City in Class 3A, just dominated Hamlin over Central to win their first regional championship since 2011. Then we had Westview after 33 points from Austin Slaybaugh. Just a really good performance against a good Gary 21st Century team. Westview wins their first regional, and I think quite some time as well. And then Bishop Luers also defeated Bremen 55-51 to win the 2A regional yesterday as well. I think that one was out of Huntington. So we have several regional champions. DC, which one kind of sticks out to you after yesterday's results?
The obvious one for me is New Haven. Definitely unexpected. This is a team that's kind of flown under the radar a little bit throughout the season, a little bit of success, but to win a regional championship for the first time in program history, school history, that's always a special moment. And we're talking about a group of guys, just underrated this entire season. Everybody's been talking about Homestead all year. They do every season. Homestead always has a great product. Snyder's basketball team was usually pretty good. But when you talk about New Haven basketball, they've had a couple of good years, but nothing like winning a regional championship. And we were talking about it, I don't know if it was last week or the week before when we had Dan Vance on, your cuz, and we asked the question, I think, is boys basketball down? Because, we always have at least one girls representative going this far in our area in Northeast Indiana. But for the boys side, we never really have this many teams, and especially this many SAC teams. I've seen 30% of the SAC, I've seen a tweet earlier, 30% of the SAC is represented in the next round after winning a regional championship. So super awesome to have that much representation in our area for Northeast Indiana. But for me, it's got to be New Haven, a team that's flown under the radar, and to capture their first regional title, that stands out. Coach Appleton's been there for a little bit, and this has got to feel good. So I'm excited to talk to him.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk to him too because I covered him when he was coaching the Angola girls back in the late teens, and his teams always played tough. They were hard nosed. They defended the hell out of you, and they weren't afraid to put pressure on you. And they were just gritty, hard nosed teams. And he went over to the boys' side of Angola, and they struggled. Then he comes down to New Haven, and he's been able to whip this program into a regional champion in just 2 years. This is his second year at New Haven, and he's been able to do a really good job to make this team not only NE8 conference champs, which the NE8 was very competitive this year. He had teams like DeKalb that were up.
Columbia City's still playing.
Columbia City's still playing. So you had a lot of tough teams in the NE8 this year. So I think, speaking to, like you said, Dan's comments, it's boys basketball feels like it's going back in the right direction to where, you only had maybe a couple of teams at this point a few years ago. And now we, like I said, have 7 teams. And we had like in the 260, I think we had at least like 10 or so that were competing yesterday. I think Canterbury ended up losing, and there's one more I think that ended up losing as well. But to have this many teams still playing at this point late in March, and it feels like we don't know. I don't think the what times teams are playing next week. There's a sectional or semi-state pairing show put on by the IHSAA later today. So we'll find out all the details later today. I believe it's at 2. So I think it's great to have this many teams going this far, something that I did not expect. And hopefully we have a good chance at getting at least, I'd say at least 2 teams down to the state finals the following weekend. So I'm pretty excited to see where we go from here. And it feels like that basketball might be back on the boys' side in the 260. So it's great to see.
Definitely here, and I definitely got to highlight a couple of players from our area that I think people really need to put on their radar. Number one is Mac Welker, who continues to be one of the best players in the state of Indiana for Homestead, and what's crazy is he's just getting started.
Right.
We asked Coach Chris Johnson about him. We had Chris Johnson last week, right?
Right.
Yeah, sorry, my weeks are all jumbled up, but he's a player that I think is emerging. And when you go into next season, because he's only a junior, Mac Welker's only a junior.
Yeah,
he'll be here next season as a senior at Homestead. When you go into next year, I think Mac Welker, you need to be talking about a preseason favorite for Mr. Indiana basketball. I think he is, up to that level. And playing around this area, he's just so much bigger than the rest of the guys. And you can tell, our guys really struggle, but he's still continuing that dominance later on in this tournament. So he's one that I think you got to mark, as a player to watch throughout the rest of the way. And of course, next season, another 20-point game. He had 23, 10 of 11, 7 rebounds for Homestead in the victory over Harrison. Harrison's a good team, and they couldn't do nothing. They couldn't handle Welker, man. They couldn't do nothing with him. So that's a name that I definitely wanted to bring up. But another one that I think people need to understand, Xavier Wilson, Snyder. Another player under the radar, a guard, about 6'4". I know he's been getting a little college attention as of late, but another one that's leading the Snyder Panthers, and they got some talent over there on the boys' side as well. Both on the boys and girls side, Snyder's got some good players. But yeah, those are 2 players that I think from our area that people need to watch moving forward, and obviously they'll play each other. From what it looks like in the next round. So a lot of representation from our area and a lot of talent. I think the boys' talent is growing, and I think it's, individual talent. I think the boys is better than the girls' side. I feel like on the girls' side, you got Vanessa Rossworm at Norwell, but better teams on the girls' side. Where on the boys' side, there's a lot more individual talent. I think that would be the difference from my personal opinion.
Yeah, and I think maybe that's been the issue these last couple of years of why teams aren't going super far. You might have these talented individuals, but it's just the rest of the teams maybe aren't as strong, or there's not as much depth on some of these teams to go face up against a Carmel or a Fishers or a Hamilton Southeastern or something like that, especially on the upper 3 and 4A ranks. But even still, there's programs that are in 2A and 1A that are just absolute powerhouses that these teams are going up against. I mentioned Gary 21st Century. That's a team that regularly makes deep runs in 2A all the time. I remember even going back to when I was covering games and having a team from 2A go over and play in that regional over at North Judson, and it's just the place is packed. It's because I remember I was over there for Central Noble Blackhawk Christian, and that environment was one of the best environments I've ever covered a game in, with both those sides going at it. And I think the year before it might have been a Gary 21st Century team that Westview was playing. And it's good to see a coach like Chandler Pribble, who is, I think, a really good coach. And I'm happy for his team to get this far. I'm happy for a guy like Seth Coughing at Bishop Luers to get this far as well. I remember covering him when he was at Garrett. So a lot of good coaches that are taking their teams, and I'm happy for a lot of these guys that are able to make it this far in the tournament because when you get on this stage, you just never know what your team's going to be like, and especially since the format changed to just one game in the regional, and it's not 2 games anymore. That's obviously how it's flip-flop with the semi-state now having the 2 games. So I'm interested to see where these teams shake out, what the matchups are for next week. We'll find out more details, obviously, later today, and the times in the game.
It'll be a busy Sunday, brother.
It will be next Sunday.
We wait next Sunday, and today we obviously wait for a selection.
Yeah, this Sunday
we got a busy next couple weeks, man. How are we gonna fit it all in?
I know it's crazy. Then we have baseball starting up. We had the World Baseball Classic tonight. Semifinals between the United States and Dominican Republic. I think on the other side it's Italy and Venezuela. Venezuela ended up beating Japan last night. A really gutsy performance because when I fell asleep, Japan was still up in that game, so I was surprised that Venezuela came back and won that game. Before we get to Coach Appleton here, I do want to have a one note on the WBC semifinals game tonight between the USA and the DR. There are 52 All-Stars game appearances between these two rosters, 32 Silver Sluggers, 11 Golden Gloves, and 5 MVP awards that will be on the field tonight. Plus, you probably have the best pitcher in the world, Paul Skeens, taking the mound. So it's going to be a very star-studded matchup tonight in Miami. I'm excited for it. I was, lucky, we didn't have a show earlier this week because you and I were messaging back and forth of how idiotic Mark DeRosa acted this past week, not knowing the rules. And you and I are both experienced in travel baseball, so we know about pool play and the results and tiebreakers and all of that. Yeah, because your son is on a travel team. I've coached a travel team, and you gotta know, man. You gotta know the tiebreakers. You can't just assume that you're in the bracket. You can't assume your seed. It was just super idiotic behavior that he was displaying. I'm not calling him an idiot. It was the behavior that he was displaying on that moment on High Heat on MLB Network that it was just, come on, man. You got to know the rules. And you got to know the rules before you just go spouting off of, I'm just going to rest some guys that haven't got some playing time. You got to know the rules.
I'm surprised more national media wasn't talking about that. Like, I feel like
I thought he got his due, but it should have been a bigger story. So
I agree. That's crazy that he didn't, we all make mistakes though. And they'll, Dominican Republic's just going to destroy him like I told you anyway. I told you from the beginning, I thought Dominican Republic was going to run the table. So I got to stick with it.
I'm interested to see how Skeens does tonight. If he can go 5 or 6 innings, I think that sets him up real well. Obviously, there's loads of talent in both lineups. It's going to be crazy to see how far, because he's on a pitch limit. You can't go more than 95, but I don't think he's going to go even remotely close to that. I think he's probably going to throw about 65, 70 pitches before he leaves the game. So if he could be efficient out there on the mound, that'd be great. But
I'm excited, man. There's a lot of, there's a lot of stuff to be excited about in our area, and just sports in general. The NFL draft is in about a month too.
Yep.
So I can already say that we'll have a draft expert from ESPN that'll be joining us to help preview that NFL draft. I can go ahead and announce that. I won't say who yet. But yeah, that's already been confirmed. So stay tuned for that. NFL draft season. We'll see the Colts will be drafting on day 2. Well, we definitely got to discuss that later on too, man. We cannot do the show today without talking about the Colts. Because they are, I'm not like, look, don't even get me started. We'll save that for later. But yeah, we got a lot of Colts talk to get on later on. We got the Big Ten championship coming up later on today when Brice will watch the Purdue Boilermakers win the Big Ten championship, and all the state of Indiana can just forget about what the Hoosiers did on the football field, and we can finally turn the page and focus on what Purdue's doing on the basketball court. And then Selection Sunday will just reward them even more with an easy bracket, easy path to the Final Four. So we'll talk about that later on in the show. We got Coach Appleton of New Haven basketball coming on. And we got the new football coach that is taking over the program at Spuller Stadium. Northrop Bruins' new coach, John Shaefer, will be joining us later on as well, around 12 in about 30 minutes. So we got a little football talk as well coming up later on. The comment section is open, as Brice said. We are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and my X account at DC Hendricks. So a lot of stuff to get in today. And, of course, we got the comment section rolling. My mom's tuned in. Shout out, Moms. Shout out, Mom Dukes. But, yeah, a lot of talk today. But high school basketball, boys regionals is the topic of conversation.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, make sure you like and subscribe to the show. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. We will have an announcement about Selection Sunday and a bracket challenge that we will be doing, and potentially a giveaway. So make sure you stay tuned to that.
Yeah, Brice convinced me to do a bracket challenge. I hate doing them, but Brice pretty much bribed me.
I didn't bribe you.
You bribed me because you mentioned the prize.
I did. Not for either one of us. We're not eligible for the prize.
What am I doing it for then?
To grow the show. To grow the show. I mean, that's the whole reason.
If I do this bracket challenge, I'm gonna win. So I'm just gonna get nothing out of this, other than your blessing of getting to go against me in a bracket challenge.
Yeah,
not very rewarding for me. That's not very fair.
No. All right, we'll get back to that. We'll get back to that. Now we have New Haven boys basketball coach Brandon Appleton joining us on the show. Coach, thank you so much for joining us. I'm happy for you, Coach, because I remember covering you back when you were covering or coaching the Angola girls, and following you back since then. And I was telling DC that, your teams have always had this identity of being hard-nosed, tough, gritty, and you brought that to the New Haven boys basketball program, and you guys have won your first ever regional title. Take me through your thoughts after winning the regional yesterday and what it means for you in the program.
I mean, it's for the kids, for us, it's all a dream come true. It's a place they've never been and never experienced. And we wanted to, I remember my first meeting with our team, we sat around a circle and like we do every day before practice, and talked about understanding I'm not just here for sectionals, boys. I want Gamebridge. I want to go down and show you guys what this is all about. And to my kids' credit, they don't back down from that challenge. They thrive in that moment, and they've been dialed in here as we've gotten into postseason.
Yeah, Coach, I know you got a busy morning, so we won't try to take too long for you. I know you got a game to get to, but I definitely wanted to highlight some of the guys and wanted you to, talk a little bit about your team, because this is a special team I've got to see a couple of times this year. All the hype around Bakersville, rightfully so. I mean, one of the most talented players in the area. But talk about some of your guys that have helped, lead your Bulldogs to a successful season so far.
Yeah, I think that's what makes us a tough team right now. We've got 7 to 8 guys that you have to really worry about scoring the basketball and how we're going to defend you. I'm bringing a 6'3" freshman off the bench, Jayon Thomas, who, as we've gotten into the tournament, has just started to really show everybody what he's going to be capable of for another 3 more years after this season finishes up. Shane Rogers Smith coming over to us from Northside. He was with these kids through junior high, left for a couple years, and then came back to join the group. And he has just been a great addition. Marquaylin Johnson, another kid, 6'3" guard off the bench, just an electric player when he is dialed in mentally and doing what he's supposed to do. And that was a big matchup issue last night for West Lafayette. He was just they couldn't find anybody to guard him, and it was a big difference. So, when you're getting contributions like that from kids off the bench, or Shane even pushing his way into starting lineup, and now I've got Jadrian Ezel, a senior, who has started most of the last 2 years for me. And with I was under the impression when we started, he was one of the better shooting guards in the city. And having that explosive energy coming off the bench like that, you can guarantee you're going to be in a lot of ball games.
Coach, you kind of spoke to it a little bit when you were, said you talked to your guys before each season and before you practice about what your expectations are. When you came into the program a couple of years ago, what did you see as far as what needed to be done to get the roster and the program to this point?
Well, you kind of touched on it back when I was the girls coach at Angola and how my teams operated. I have long wanted to see if we could do some of the same things on the boys' side. And we didn't have quite the personnel when I took over the boys' side in Angola, but I'd like to say what we're doing now is really very similar to what I was doing with our girls back there in Angola. I haven't changed a whole lot. I preached it when I was the girls coach there. I don't coach boys, girls. I coach basketball players, and I've got a group that loves the game. They love each other, and they really bought into what I was trying to tell them. They were all very skeptical coming in. They saw I was a girls coach, and I hadn't had a whole lot of success with the boys side. And to their credit, they gave me a chance. They started to see, I think, pretty quickly in the process about how much I was there for them more as people than as basketball players. I'm much more trying to build a relationship with these kids and show them, however this story ends this year, that's not going to be the biggest thing in their lives. There's a lot more things coming ahead, and just showing them how much I can love on them and try to get them a little bit better. But I remember even back when I was the Angola girls coach, sitting in the stands at New Haven, actually watching the boys sectional, and Angola actually came up on top and stole the sectional from a very talented New Haven team that I felt should have won that sectional. And I can just privately in my mind, I shared with nobody but my wife. I said, man, I just wonder if I ever got my hands on a team like this, if I could add some of my discipline to what they do, how it would carry over. And I think some of that is starting to hold true. And I even have a coach from that previous staff, and they did a great job with him. I just think it's a different angle, a different lens for these kids to see now that I'm the person screaming and yelling about certain things. But hats off to the kids, man. They got their backs against the wall. There's always a challenge that lies ahead, and they're ready for it.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk a little bit about, because I've been to a couple games this season for you, Coach, and they just so happened to be the 2 overtime games. I got to see the Carroll game, and I was at the Columbia City game. And, going up to earlier in the season, I know you had the couple of tough losses towards the beginning. I think it was South Bend Riley and Blackhawk early on in the first few weeks. But what do you think now that after the success in this run that you've had and the run that you put together, while everyone, I feel like most of the media, they all talk about Homestead, they talk about Snyder, they talk about Carroll, they talk, all the talk Southside. But I feel like you guys have been kind of under the radar a little bit in terms of your success this year. What do you say right now is the overall morale within your program?
Job's not finished. It was great from the start in our sectional. We have a senior, DeMarcus Wright. He's one of our best leaders. Great kid. We took care of business when we got through Marion, and we were happy. We celebrated, and very soon after, you see Mark asked for the dry erase marker from me, and he just puts it on the board. Job not finished. So we got a shirt made up for it, and I think that's just kind of the mantra. Like they know there's more coming. We talked briefly yesterday about, all right, boys, now you're in a 4-team tournament. Yeah, you take care of 2 games here, you're going to put yourselves in a really good place. We took our kids down to Cambridge earlier this year to play against Dwanger, which I thought was just a cool experience for the kids. But even from that moment on, we were very quick to say, boys, we're coming back here. And, now being this close, I think the boys are just super focused and excited for the opportunity. to show their ability on that stage. And the team is starting to understand kind of really well what their roles are and how we're going to win ball games and the things we have to do. And, those moments like Carroll and Columbia City, those are what sets you up for it. I mean, we talked even after that Columbia City game, even the fans as they left that arena that night, Coach, we look forward to seeing you guys in the playoffs. And I said the same thing back. This would be awesome to get 2 NEA teams in this semi-state final and really battle it out to show everybody what this conference can do. I mean, you saw it on the girls' side with Norwell, with Belmont, with East Noble, just having all that success on the girls' side. All right, now it's time for our boys to go show what we got.
Yeah, I'd say the boys, it felt like it was a little bit deeper than it normally is than in years past. How did that give you guys, toughen you up, going through the rigors of the NE8 and obviously playing those out of conference games as well against some of the bigger schools. And obviously there's some really good schools in the city that you faced off against. How did that prepare you guys for this postseason run?
I think those are huge. We take a lot of pride in what we put together in terms of a schedule, but you think about JJ Foster at Southside, you think about Ed Bentley at East Noble, you think about I can't remember the Carroll coach there, almost 500 some victories. You think about the Norwell head coach in McBride. You think about Thompson over there in Huntington. Like we see on a nightly basis, even playing Noblesville, just fantastic coaches who know how to put their teams in positions to win. And they're not going to give you free possessions. You're going to have to earn it to get there. And, that's the challenge we want. That's what we want our kids to do and rise to those occasions. So it's kind of nice as we were talking about, we're kind of under the radar. Everybody wants to talk Homestead and talk Snyder. And I was going through Twitter feeds just trying to see, if there were any interviews out there of us or anything like that. And there wasn't. I'm like, man, that's fine. Nobody's got respect for us. Good. But let's keep it that way. Let's make it so they have to say our names. And I think our kids understand that. We talk a lot about, it is what it is. I have an all African-American team, and we can have challenges at times based on who we see as officials and the way they call the game. And I don't think they mean to call it in a particular way. I just think it comes across that way. So we might be playing 5-on-6, 5-on-7 on a routine basis. And, my kids do a fantastic job. They don't let their emotions get the best of them for the most part. We've talked a lot about not worrying about what the officials are going to do and understanding that, you're not going to change their calls, but you can fix, your emotions and how you react to things. And I think they have really bought into that. And because of that, we've been able to move on to the next play a lot better and really focus on the things that are in front of us instead of behind us.
So final question from me, is that partly of what you use to motivate your guys to keep going forward and let them know that the job's not finished? Do you kind of use that fuel, against the media and all the social media, kind of leaving you guys under the radar and not really highlighting you guys and interviewing you guys? Is that partly your approach to keep them ready for the next step?
Oh, yeah. You're always looking for that bulletin board material. There was a comment in our media guide that we had here at Logansport about we have a certain margin of victory, but average against good defensive teams in terms of how we play offense. So, okay, let's go prove them how average we are offensively. And just finding those things so the kids always know, we don't have the best things in the world like you see at these homesteads with the beautiful facilities. But our kids don't care, man. This is ball to them. Let's roll it out there and see what happens. And they have this competitiveness about them. They hate to lose. And it's nice to have practices where I have to pull them apart. No, we can't do 5-on-5 today because you guys are going to hurt each other. And they're like, Coach, we want to play. I get you want to play, boys, but I got to get us to Saturday first. And having kids with that competitive edge like that, they're going to put themselves in a lot of good places. And it's been a blessing to have them allow me to coach them up. And we share this very similar love to the game of basketball, and it's just been a great transition for myself and my family. And we've just grown our family here at the New Haven.
That is New Haven boys basketball coach Brandon Appleton joining us here on the show. Coach, thank you so much for coming on the show. Like I said, when we brought you on, happy for you to get to this point because I know the type of coach and the type of program that you run. And good luck this upcoming weekend and hope the success continues. All right.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Go Bulldogs.
That is New Haven boys basketball coach Brandon Appleton joining us here on the Sideline Sports Show. DC, I think they have a good chance as long as they keep playing the way that they are. because he's a good coach, knows how to run a program that is tough-minded, likes to put their nose to the grindstone, and will be not an easy out anytime that they get out on the floor. And like you said, they've had some really good competition this year so far.
I also don't think, I don't think Kobe Bryant knew how timeless his comment would be when he said job's not finished in that press conference after the game. I don't think he knew in that moment that would live on as much as that has, because like people literally live on that mantra, job's not finished. Yeah. Like I love that though. I love that because that is a great approach. It's not finished. You're not complacent. You don't want to stop here. And I mentioned purposely that they've been kind of flown under the radar because and it's nothing against those other programs because they've earned the right. Benedict at Carroll, Carroll's earned the right to be talked about a lot. On the boys basketball side, you talk about he mentioned Homestead boys and girls. Everybody talks about both their programs all the time. They get all the love. So when teams like New Haven make this kind of run, that and we're talking about a team like fully transparent. We're talking about a team that they, like I mentioned, they lost to Blackhawk early on in the year. They lost to Snyder by a few points, lost to Homestead, lost to Noblesville, lost to Southside, and the Southside game, the final score was a little bit closer than the game actually was. So we're talking about a team that at times hasn't looked that great all year. And so for them to make this run and play ball at the right time, which is very similar to college basketball, we always talk about you got to be playing your best basketball in March. Well, I feel like same could go for high school. And that's what this New Haven Bulldogs team is doing right now. So was very excited to talk to him and let him highlight that program when, a lot of the media don't really give them that, that publicity. You look on the news, you always see Homestead, you see the same programs. Well, I wanted to give New Haven some love today.
Yeah. Because I remember I've covered New Haven probably at least 10 or a dozen times when I was working for the newspapers, and he kind of mentioned it that those programs were talented and they had a lot of talent. They were just undisciplined. They would get into these runs where they would just lack certain things. Get into foul trouble. Not consistent on defense, or just play sloppy, and they've had chances to win a sectional. They've had chances to move on deep in the tournament. They've had chances in the NE8 that you go up against a Norwell team that is historically disciplined under Coach McBride, or you have a team like Columbia City who has been on the rise and has had program success in the past. It's just never happened for this program, and for him to come in and put his fingerprints on this program, I think he's going to do well there. Obviously, he's done well so far, and I'm excited to see where this program goes. So we'll have a lot more high school basketball coverage coming up in the next week or so, as we do have semi-states the next week, and then the following week we'll have the state finals. So we just had a comment come in here. Thank you so much, Brandon, for tuning in. He's one of the best coaches in the area. It's disappointing the local media has done this to the Bulldogs all season, including yesterday's regional game. Not a camera in the building, and yeah, it's tough. And speaking as a former media member, and you are surprised at certain points that there's not coverage of some of these games. And especially, and I know it can be tough, and I'm not, trying to back the media, but maybe just a touch. But the way that the media, especially television market, has kind of shrunk. I mean, we only really have 2.5 sports departments right now. You have Wayne, you have 21, which owns NBC and ABC. That's one group right now, and then you have the team at Fox 55, and I think that's only a one-person department. So it's tough for local media. I get you can't be everywhere at once, and especially, like I said, we had I think 10 or almost 10 teams in a regional yesterday, and some of those games are going on at the same time. And I'm not trying to make excuses, but it can be tough to cover everything all at once, especially when these games are spread out across the state. Some teams are playing over in Logansport, some are playing in North Judson, which is nearly 2 hours away. So I'm not trying to make excuses, but it can be tough to cover all these games. Yeah. Speaking from experience, and I'm not. It can be tough, but when you have a team like this in New Haven and you're not getting that much media coverage, maybe not all season long, then you can be frustrated, especially when you're getting to this deep into the tournament. You want to see.
Why this is why, and this is like not because I haven't even written an article in a while, but obviously, like I still represent Indiana Preps, and will be very active here soon with baseball season and football season, obviously when that comes rolling around. So I can speak from my personal. This is why I love working for Indiana Preps because they have certain games that they would like me to go to, and they say this is our game of the week, but I have the freedom at Indiana Preps where I can say, look, this team, okay, hold on, I get it, but Homestead and New Haven were at the same location yesterday. Yeah, that was what I was going to point out. It's like,
that's disappointing. If you can't
absolutely
stay
Homestead
for one game,
and Homestead's gotten all kind of interviews. They're on TV like every night. So that's why with Indiana Preps, I'm going to try to keep it short. That's why I love that they give me the freedom to pretty much cover what I want. So shout out Harvey Scrubs. They let me pretty much cover what I want, and that's why you'll see me at Wayne. You'll see me at a Wayne game. You'll see me at Concordia game. You'll see me at a Southside game. I try my best to cover. Now, obviously, when you get deep in the tournament, you'll have, I'll probably be at Dwinger a couple of times for football. I'll probably be, East Noble, and whoever Carroll lures. Obviously, when you get a little deeper in the tournament, but during the regular season, spread it out, spread the love. Some of those other teams not only deserve the coverage, but also they have players too. Wayne, and I know I'm going to football, and we have new Northrop coach coming on at the top of the hour, so I'm kind of going to football and comparing. But like Wayne has Javante Eldridge, and Wayne didn't win a game last season. Javante Eldridge has like 6 D1 offers, and not just D1, power school offers, and he's only a sophomore. These teams have talent that you can still cover, regardless if they're not Homestead, they're not Carroll. So this is why we try to cover those teams that don't necessarily get the coverage that the other schools get. That's why we brought on New Haven's coach. We had Chris Johnson last week, but we could have brought on Seth Coughing at Lures. Obviously, they won a regional title, so we could have brought them on. Could have brought Snyder's coach on. I feel like they get a lot of love too. So that's why we try to bring on those kind of coaches. So that's why Coach Appleton was the first coach I wanted to reach out to. So, not all media I will say, has the freedom to do different and cover different games. Yeah. So while they were maybe in the building, maybe they had a story that they had to get in at a certain time because, a lot of them have, a deadline on when they have to get stuff in. So I get it. But for New Haven, that's why I got to give a quick shout out to Adam Gaddy, my boy that does the photography for New Haven and has done so all season. I got to give him a shout out because his pictures that he has captured all year, that'll be helping tell the story.
Yeah. And we used one of his photos in the graphic promoting Coach Appleton bringing on. So when you see the thumbnail of Coach Appleton's video, we're using Adam's photo, and we do give him photo credit obviously, but shout out to him being there. And yeah, it is. That's why, and I'm going to bring up, you and I both know Justin Prince, obviously. He made it a point of pride every single Friday night to get out to as many games as he could.
He would flow.
And a lot of the times, and it was him and Peter Hood back in the old days of WFFT, and they made it a point of pride to try and get out as many games as they could. And they would compare themselves to not only other stations in town, but other stations across the state. They would compare how many games did Wish TV and down in Indianapolis get to? Did WFFT get the same amount of games or more? They would keep track of that because that was a point of pride of trying to get to as many games as you can, even if it's just for a couple buckets.
Some of them still do that. I know Josh Ayen of Wayne TV. He does do that because I've seen him on the sidelines for football. Mm-hmm. He'll get some footage and then he'll go to another game, or he'll go to another game and then he'll end up at the game that I'm at later on.
Yeah. So
they still do that. And just keep in mind, these guys are doing that out of their own free will. They don't get paid extra to do that kind of stuff. So just keep that in mind.
I know a lot of, because you got to remember, there's also college basketball going on. Like we have St. Francis women, they're moving on to the round of 16 after their game yesterday, winning. And then I know Grace College, the men's are also moving on to the round of 16 after winning yesterday. I think Union Westland men's are moving on as well to the round of 16.
To be in the same building, like
that's
in the same building though.
Yeah.
Like, look, there's no excuses for that. Like, other than look, just cut and dry. They expected New Haven to lose.
Yeah, and sometimes
what other excuse do they have? There's no other excuse.
Yeah.
They didn't expect New Haven to win. Let's be cut dry here. They didn't expect New Haven to win, so they didn't stay to cover the game. Let's be real here. So that's why Coach Appleton and his players have this chip on their shoulder, and why I don't blame them at all, because like that example, if that was really the case, then yeah, there should have been at least one camera at that game, getting some footage, getting an interview with Coach Appleton. But nonetheless, glad we could be that one. Glad we could be the one to shine some light on New Haven.
Yeah, like you said, I've covered Coach Appleton for a while now, and always respected him and how he runs his program. So let's get into what up, Coach. That's my former old assistant coach back in the Central Noble days, David. Coach Sheffield, as we used to call him. Shout out, Coach. Let's get on to some other notes here. You mentioned Vanessa Rossworm. She finished third in Miss Indiana basketball. We were kind of hoping that she might come away with it, but the star out of Center Grove ended up taking the number 1 jersey. But I think she's on. I don't know if they've announced the All-Star teams, but I would imagine that she's going to be there. So
if she doesn't, we riot.
I think she'll be on the All-Star team.
We will riot.
That's for sure.
I will. Maybe Brice won't. He doesn't have the same energy I do.
Well,
I will riot.
No, you get a little more heated than I
do.
I do.
Yeah. I do, because I'm angry. I'm an angry person. Not really.
I'm not sure if he wants me to share this, but I got a message from Austin Huff, our boy who works for he's based in South Bend, works for all the Gannett papers across the Indiana, I should say. And they did have somebody there. He's been texting me here on the side. He's like, "Hey, we were there. We had a because they have photos of the game. So if you want to go to jconline.com, you can see photos of the New Haven West Lafayette game. So
there we go.
There you go. If you
also, what is this? Hold on. So we were talking Purdue earlier. Don't think I didn't see this comment. What is this?
I knew we were gonna get back to it. Tim put the comment in right before we brought on Coach Appleton, so we couldn't get to it.
All right. So full disclosure before I go on a rant here.
Yeah.
This is my son's travel baseball coach. So before I go off,
okay,
giving full context, okay? I don't want to ruin his spot or anything. I don't want to see him benched when the tournaments start next month. But you can change a profile pic now, Tim. Indiana season's over. They're not playing basketball right now.
I couldn't see what his profile picture was.
There's no Hoosiers playing ball right now, okay? Football season's over. Basketball team's been scouting for next seasons for a couple weeks now, okay? Give it up.
Give it up.
Time to boil her up. Bars.
All right. So I'm going to bring on Coach Sheffield. He's bringing on What Up, BV. Hope you never forgot your pitching job in the sectional finals. Coach has a better memory than me because I forgot that this even happened. So, but
man, glad my coach isn't watching. I got a lot of stuff he could bring up, even some personal stuff. Gotta be careful. You never know who's watching. That's for sure.
You never know who's watching. Thank you to everybody who is watching. This is the most interaction we've had on the show in quite some time. So thank you so much. Keep the comments rolling in if you have any thoughts on anything we talk about. I do have a correction. It's not Gannett Papers anymore for the South Bend Tribune. It's part of the USA Today network. I had to get that correction in for. Well, Austin's watching the show and we're having a little.
Well, Austin, there's a comment section. He can send it in the comment section.
We're having a little side convo. I'm having a little personal show with Austin over here on the side,
brother.
Where I'm trying to talk to you,
YouTube, and you follow me on X. There's a comment section.
Yep. All right.
We love you.
No, Love Austin. I'm trying to think of maybe we'll have him on the show. See if we can get him on the show because I know maybe for the state finals or semi-state we can bring him on next week because he oversees a lot of the high school sports for the papers in the USA Today network in the state of Indiana. But we were talking about Purdue before we got sidetracked here, and they play Michigan today in the Big Ten tournament championship game. They've defeated Northwestern, Nebraska.
Hey, there we go.
All right, we'll bring him on here in the next couple of weeks. And they face Michigan today. Michigan escaped Wisconsin. I don't know if you watched that Wisconsin-Michigan game. Lundenborg hit the game winner with was it 0.3 seconds left yesterday. I'm confused on all these buzzer beaters just because there's been so many here in the last few days that it's just been absolutely madness to watch college basketball here in these last few days.
You just said the key words. I seen that comment. My bad.
Yeah. So
I'm showing I don't care.
Yeah.
No, man, I'm almost done. You can't do that.
You almost got it paid off.
It's almost done.
All right. So what are your expectations for Purdue today? Because they played a few weeks ago in Mackey, and Michigan won that game by 11. I'm encouraged by what I'm seeing out of Purdue here recently because you're getting contributions from all over the place. You had Fletcher Lawyer, I think, against Nebraska, went off, was very good in that game. Yesterday's game, you had Jack Benner show up late in the first half, hit the buzzer beater to end the first half, and then you had Oscar Clough came up huge late in that game yesterday, especially down the stretch. And it feels like you're getting contributions from just about everybody. And that's kind of what we've been asking for this Purdue team, to have everybody rowing in the same direction all at once. And it feels like if this team shows up the way it's been playing the last 3 games, it feels like today's matchup against Michigan could be one that is going to be very entertaining and back and forth.
You're damn right. Purdue. Now, I'm hoping that they make me forget what happened in February because that game was horrendous. Trey Kaufman-Wren had a good game that game, though. He had 27 in that game back then.
Yeah.
It feels like eons ago, though. I feel like that was we were still picking on Braden Smith back then, too. And he's pretty much got it together. I'm expecting a Purdue win. I'm not going to lie. That's just not the bias in me, maybe a little. But my hopes are up. We've criticized this team for the past couple of weeks, and I feel like they're finally getting it together. They're moving the ball. They're taking good shots. I'm in love with this team right now. As long as they keep playing the way they have and keep moving the ball and taking those good shots, not just jacking up threes because you're, and running. I hate when they get a tendency to run the clock all the way down to a second, and then they just try to jack up a shot. I hate when they do that. And they get kind of one-on-one, which a lot of teams do that. They kind of get stuck in this one-on-one, trying to get around their opponent, and it doesn't work because you're all elite athletes, especially at this level in college. So I hate as long as they keep moving the ball and getting those open shots like they have been, they get the dub today. Michigan looks good, though. This is not going to be easy. But as long as they keep doing what they've been doing, move the ball, keep taking those open shots, the Purdue Boilermakers get a dub, and I'm going to be a big happy guy, and I'm probably going to be messaging you all evening about the Purdue Boilermakers, telling you to boiler up, telling you to get a Purdue hat, and get rid of your IU gear and switch over because you still can. It's early enough.
No. That's never gonna happen. First of all, never gonna get any Purdue gear in this house. The only thing that is Purdue about me is my degree because I got it from Purdue Fort Wayne. So that's the only thing that's only thing that's not even my alma mater. It's a totally different school. And I went there, when I went there, it was much cooler because it was IPFW, not PFW.
Now, what's your degree says though? It says Purdue on it.
I know it says Purdue University graduate. So, unfortunately, but I think this team is peaking at the right time. It feels like, and hopefully this continues into the NCAA tournament. And it feels like that they're gonna, if they win today, they'll probably be a 2 seed If they lose, maybe they're a 3 seed. They're in the 2 to 3 range. That's really all that matters. Michigan's probably a 1, maybe a 2 if they lose today. And then you have Duke, I think Arizona, they ended up winning yesterday. And I doubt Connecticut is the other number 1.
Lose last night.
I know.
That was a close game. That was a good game. I'm not gonna lie, that was a good game, but not gonna lie, I was hoping Duke. I am so sick of Duke, bro. Like you know me, bro. I can't take it anymore. Can we spread the love? Can they just go somewhere else? We don't all have to go to Duke anymore. Well, everybody gets nil now. Can we spread? You can go somewhere else and get nil. You don't have to go to Duke.
I feel like, and I've noticed this over the past few weeks. Do other people call it nil? I always call it NIL. I don't know.
I say nil, but yeah, it's NIL money.
I know, yeah, and I just want people to not get confused because I always call it NIL, just because you're the only person in my life that I've ever heard it call it nil.
No money.
No, I get it. It's it's like that thing where you call it GIF or GIF.
Yeah,
that's kind of what it is. I'm just
there's money. There's money elsewhere. There's money at Purdue. Maybe not IU, but Purdue has some.
No, there's money.
IU needs to use this for a new coach.
No, they spent it on the wrong players this year. That's what I'll say. They had like a $10 million roster, and
I will agree with this though. He does need to. Braden Smith does need to score a little bit, but I feel like he's picked it up a little bit in the tournament. He's playing smarter. Is the biggest thing. It's not that he needs to score more. I just think he needs to play smarter. He's not necessarily hunting for assists. I just think
I don't know. He might. Well, I think he might be hunting just a little bit because he's going for that record. He's going for that all-time record. I think he's got to be like 30 or less away. I don't know the exact number. I haven't been paying that close of attention, but he's like 30 or so away from the all-time record for assists in the NCAA. He's second place all time right now. He's 30 or so behind Danny Hurley, and I think he might be hunting just a little bit just to try and get that record because they need to keep playing. Obviously, playing a game today helps get him closer to that all-time record, but they need to play at least 2, maybe 3 games in the NCAA tournament for him to get that record. So, I think he might be hunting just a little bit. So, but let's not waste any more time talking about Purdue. We'll get back to them.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we were wasting time. We'll get back to it.
I mean, okay. Would you rather talk IU?
No, I told you we're not talking about that.
I figured.
What team?
Talk about wasting time.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk a little high school football. And a team in the area has a new coach, and that is the Northrop Bruins. Coach John Shaefer joining us now on the show. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Sideline Sports Show, Coach, and congratulations on getting the job at Northrop. You are a Northrop through and through. So what did getting this job mean to you?
Well, first, thanks for having me on, guys. Really appreciate it. But it means a lot, as you mentioned, Northrop through and through. I went to school here, kind of grew up here. My grandma actually taught here at Northrop when the building first opened. And so I've been around here since I was a little baby. And so all I know is, orange and brown. So it means a lot to me, my family, my friends. So, I'm just blessed to have this opportunity.
Yeah, don't make me go get my Southside hat. I don't know about all that. I'm talking about that orange and brown. But all seriousness, Coach, I've seen a lot of you this past season being on Northrop sidelines. The second team I've seen the most last season, so definitely seen a lot of you on the sidelines. But just talk a little bit about the program you're taking over. Coming out of last season, one of the most successful – I mean, not one of the most – the successful season in Northrop football history. Literally records broken. Quarterback David Callison, Quay Guilford, obviously going on Ohio State. Shout out to him. But taking over after a record-breaking season, that's scary. That's scary. But I know you're up for the job. But just talk about the program you're taking over.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, right, record-breaking season, best season since I think the late '90s here. So really excited. Our senior class, as you mentioned, some of those guys, David Callison, Quay Guilford, they really set a great foundation for us going forward to carry a lot of this momentum coming into the to this next season. So we have a lot of key guys returning, and a lot of key guys that we're going to call upon to fill in those footsteps. It's hard to replace a Quay Guilford, hard to replace a David Callison, but we're gonna have to do it by committee, and I think we got the guys to continue on what those seniors kind of laid down for us.
Yeah, you mentioned some of the guys that are going to be coming back for you: Ifeanyi Imadobe, Levi Porti, Camden Day. Yeah, DC shaking your head. You like my pronouncing Ifeanyi? I got it right. So I remember because we were talking about him a couple weeks ago when he was down at a showcase, and he's had a lot. His name is definitely blown up here recently. Having those type of guys who are at a whole different level, power level guys that are going to be playing at the next level, that has to at least make you feel a little bit better in taking over a program, having a good foundation of guys that are talented, and I'm sure you're going to be leaning on those guys a lot to be the leadership and be the people that everybody looks up to in this program going into next season.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Those guys are the guys you mentioned, and Maddox Wild. Those guys are going to have to be, our leaders, vocal, and just to, show the younger guys how things are supposed to be done. We're going to have a lot of eyes on our program, as you mentioned, with those guys being Division I caliber players. So it's a great opportunity for not only them, but for our younger guys as well to get exposure and learn how things are supposed to be done.
Yeah, before I get attacked, I want to make sure it wasn't only because I probably will. I'm sure I'll get a message later. But also Cornelius Jackson broke records on defense as well.
Yep.
I'm down, everyone. All right. I'm checking my phone, making sure I don't get that. And, obviously D Hogue leaves too, one of the best safeties in the state. I've been saying that since the beginning of the season. So a ton of talent. But as you talk about the talent that returns, what does that mean for you to have, still a lot of guys returning as well? You talked about you will have a new quarterback. That I've actually got to see a little bit. I've seen him at the showcase, but just talk a little bit about, because it's going to be a little bit of a different program under you, I assume. So what are some things you're going to hope to instill as you step in as the new head coach?
Yeah, so bringing those guys back, it is nice because, they saw kind of what we were able to achieve last year with the team that we had. Now, going forward, yeah, like you mentioned, our offense and defense might look a little bit different, but we still want to instill a lot of the same principles that we had before. So having those guys return is big because they know kind of how things are supposed to look and operate at the highest level when, we're doing it right. So, new quarterback is on the table still, and we're just we're excited to get after it. He's young, but I think we got the guys around him to be able to build him up and keep his confidence up.
Coach, what is it like around Northrop when the program is playing well? Obviously, you've been a part of the team when things aren't going so well, and now you got to experience last year when the program is achieving and breaking records. What's the difference in morale, not just in the program, but the whole community, the whole Northrop community? What's morale like when this program is rolling?
No, absolutely. So as you mentioned, when I was a student here, our programs weren't the most successful, and I've been a teacher here now for a couple of years too. So the vibe in the building is just completely different. Football teams kind of run the building. I mean, and every other sport kind of follows suit as well. So the vibe in the building this year was amazing to be a part of. People were excited to come to the games. They were happy to see our football players. Our football players were excited to go to school because they were getting that, positive recognition from not only their classmates, but, the staff in the building as well. So it definitely was a positive overall environment for everybody involved.
Yeah, and something else I wanted to ask about too, which I assume, at least I'm hoping I'm assumed correct. But as you step in, and I know it's a little early as you've been stepping in, taking over, but I assume most of the assistant coaches will be returning. Like I know Coach Caleb has been monumental to the defensive line and stuff. And I know Dre Muhammad, who obviously the name speaks for itself, what he does for players in the area in the Midwest. Do you retain most of the coaching staff?
Absolutely, yeah. As soon as I found out I got the job I found out a little bit before it got announced, but we couldn't really say anything. But I was given the green light to start contacting my assistant coaches, and I got the green light from pretty much everybody coming back. So that's a big thing, and all credit to Coach Bowen before us for assembling this great
Absolutely.
staff. Yeah, and he put together one of the best staffs in the area, I believe. Not only X's and O's, but just coaches being able to relate and build those relationships with our athletes. So that was a big thing for me, was trying to keep as many assistant coaches on staff as possible to help carry this momentum that we got.
You mentioned Coach Bowen, who you were an assistant under, and also Coach Dorfler as well when he was
Mhm.
running the program. What did you take from those two guys specifically that kind of stuck out with you and that you're going to make sure to utilize and implement on the program going forward?
Yeah, just how great of leaders of young men that they are. They have a very powerful voice in the locker room, and with the coaching staff. So I've kind of molded a little bit of each guy a little bit into myself. So yeah, those are just two great coaches beyond X's and O's. Building those relationships with players and families within our community. So those are just two great guys that I've learned under for these past 7 years.
I'm sure this will help you too going into next season. You'll have your own football field, no longer have to share it. I'm sure that feels good too.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. We can call it's our own. We don't got to share anything. We never have to go to that visitor sideline. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, for sure. Since I mentioned Ifeanyi, what makes him so special? Because me and DC were talking about him, like I said, probably about a month or so ago when was down at a showcase, and obviously probably since in the last couple of months he's exploded. Just got a Notre Dame offer, a Texas Tech offer, and those programs pride themselves on defensive line play. What have you seen just from, in the last year or so? Because obviously he's kind of still new-ish to football. How has he kind of grown up in the last, just year or so?
Yeah. Yeah, Ifeanyi, he is, an athletic freak. And I know you guys have seen that. When he came to us, he was just so raw and everything like that. So he's been a sponge as well, learning the game of football. I think when one of the local news, Wayne 15, came out early summer and gave him an interview last summer, he really didn't even know what to talk about because he was still just learning football, right? But
Right.
but if you talk to him now, he understands, a lot more, our defensive concepts, line stunts, this and that, techniques and everything. And he's just such a hard worker and just such a good kid overall that like any program is going to be lucky to get him in the future, because anything he's going to put his mind to, he's going to sit out and do it because he's getting up before school and going to lift, doing our after school lifts, and then going to traction to get his defensive line work in after. So he's nonstop work. When he puts his mind to something, he's going to go get it.
Yeah, speaking of hard worker, you made me do a double take on what day it is. Are you at school?
Yeah, so I'm in the locker room right now. Yeah, so I'm in the locker room. Came out, decided to try and get some inventory started and getting going on that. So I was actually sick earlier this week, so I'm feeling 100% now. So I wanted to get out of the house and go do something. Hard to get me away from this place.
Hey, I'm just picking on you, Coach. I looked at the background. I'm like, that looks like a school clock. And I'm looking up.
Yeah,
Man, it's a little late. The kids are late for school today. They ain't getting it today. So just having a little fun with you, Coach. Definitely
absolutely.
looking forward to everything. You'll obviously see me on the sidelines once again, watching you guys and interviewing the players, interviewing you after games. So very excited for you in this program. This is only the beginning. I'm really glad that you keep most of the coaching staff too to help mold these young men, our future, and all these talented players that you will have. So very excited for you, Coach, and welcome. It's going to be a grind.
I appreciate you guys so much and everything you guys do, not only for, just local sports, but, just everything in general in the area. So I appreciate you guys very much.
Yep. Thank you so much for coming on the show today, Coach.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Yep. That is Northrop football coach John Shaefer, after he just got approved to take over the program this past week. And we're excited to see where he can take the program. Like I said, they got a lot of talent coming back. He mentioned Maddox, Ifeanyi, Day, Porti. I mean, there's the list.
Ifeanyi is up to, and look, I'm just catching people up again. In case you don't know who Ifeanyi Himadobe is,
Yeah.
You should. If not, get hit and learn.
Right.
Last season was his first year ever playing football. Not high school football.
Yeah.
Football. He's never played in his life. And he had a good season. But he is now, not even a year later, has 14 D1 offers.
Yeah.
And not just D1. We're talking, like you said, Notre Dame. Just got one from Rutgers. Pretty much all the Big Ten teams.
Yeah.
I think Penn State is the only one that hasn't officially offered him, but he does have a visit scheduled. And probably I think UCLA is the only one, but it's UCLA shouldn't even be in the Big Ten anyway. Argument for another day. Don't get me started.
Are you sure? I thought Penn State offered him this past week or the week before. I thought
I think they bring him for a visit. I don't think they've officially offered.
Okay, I mean, I would probably expect them
only
to.
And I also I'll tell you afterwards.
Yeah, sure. I think, but because I saw the Notre Dame one, and I was like, oh, that excites me because
crazy.
I think, and obviously I'm a Notre Dame football fan, so I was excited to see a local player get some love for Notre Dame. Well, it's sometimes Notre Dame doesn't come after guys from Fort Wayne, and because I don't think they tried real hard for Mylan Graham. Obviously, Tay Johnson was one that they went hard after, and it's worked out for that. Mylan Graham ended up eventually going to Notre Dame. He's there now. But
they didn't even offer Quay Guilford.
Yeah,
which shocked me.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of the tight end from Leo, who's now at
Rockshot.
So, and I thought for the longest time I was like, I think it'd be nice to see if he get a Notre Dame offer, but he ended up going to Miami. Now he's back to IU. So it's hit or miss with it's a 260 and guys getting offers from Notre Dame. So it's neither here nor there. But I was excited.
Hopefully he doesn't go there, so I have to cheer for him. I'd rather not.
Oh, come on! You're going to cheer for Tay and Mylan this upcoming season. So
absolutely, but not Notre Dame in general. Get their stats. Get your. You know what I'm saying? Get your stuff. Run up your stat sheet. But Notre Dame got to get the L at the end of the day.
Okay.
I'm kidding. I kid.
All right. A couple more things here before we end the show. I want to have a little fun with you with the NCAA.
Are they going to say boiler up?
No. We'll talk more about them, obviously, because we're going to have them play in the next couple weeks, potentially.
And all the way through the tournament, yeah.
So yeah. So what is your beef with the Indianapolis Colts? We'll end the show with the NCAA tournament coming up here in a few minutes, but I want to get your thoughts on the Colts. They are bringing back Alec Pierce, bringing back Daniel Jones. I think they're bringing on Jonathan Owens. Michael Pittman is now a Steeler. What are your thoughts on how the Colts offseason has gone so far? I haven't dug deep into NFL news. I just obviously free agency was opened this past week, and I've kind of just saw tidbits here and there, but it feels like you have stronger opinions about the Colts and their offseason so far than I do.
Well, they traded away Michael Pittman and overpaid for Alec Pierce. Yes, he by default is their number one wide receiver, but that doesn't mean he needs to be paid as one. Just because he's your best receiver doesn't mean he needs to get number one receiver money. That's terrible. No, but my biggest gripe, that's just the starters, all right? My biggest gripe was Daniel Jones. Brother, 2 years, $88 million. Don't get me wrong, okay? He looked pretty good in the first few weeks, but you're paying a quarterback 2 years, $88 million. Now it's simple math, 44 a year, okay?
Yeah.
Didn't he tear his ACL?
Yeah.
What are we doing? So now they can't get any free agents. They spent all their money on Daniel Jones and Alec Pierce. What are we doing?
I know we've gone. I think we probably had like a conversation the first week of being back on the show about the Colts and just how I don't know. It feels like Chris Ballard's time is not for long in Indianapolis.
It's like that ex-girlfriend that just won't go away. It's like, bro, just give it up. It's over. It's his tenure. He is longly overstayed his welcome. Like decisions like this, and I've talked to Colts fans too. They feel the same way. Like you paid $88 million to a quarterback coming off a torn ACL that also is coming off of still trying to recover from a terrible ending in New York. Yes, he had a good few weeks with the Colts before he went down, but that's not enough, man, for $44 million a year. And you're coming off a torn ACL. Yeah. Spread that money around. You have so many different needs to address, and they just spend it all on Alec Pierce and Daniel Jones. These are the kind of decisions that hinder this franchise. This is why they can't take the next step. It's because of stuff like this. And it's like, I hate that I'm this upset because I'm like, I'm not even a Colts fan, but it's like living here, I have to hear it. I have to deal with it from other Colts fans. So I get tired of hearing this stuff. And so I can't help but feel emotional with them. It's like, eventually, living in Indiana, you want a winner. Regardless if they're my favorite team or not, you want to talk about winners here. It felt so good to talk about the Indiana Hoosiers football team. It feels so good to talk about Purdue basketball because we're not those people. We're not those media people that love talking about bad stuff. We don't like talking about negative. We don't want to sit here and rant about how bad the Indiana Hoosiers basketball team is, except I do. That's kind of fun. But we don't want to sit here and do that every show. We want to talk about good stuff. So it would be nice for once to have an NFL season and an NFL topic where we get to talk about the Colts doing something good.
Yeah, I don't know if it's playoffs or bust this year. That's for sure, right? For Ballard, I would say. If they don't make the playoffs, he's got to go. He's got to go. And unfortunately,
I've been saying that though.
I know. That's what I'm coming at it from. It's like we've been
how many
saying
chances do you get? It's like the girl done cheated on you about 4 times. How many times do you take her back? Like she done cheated, man. Don't cheat once, don't cheat again. Can't just keep taking them back and giving them another chance.
Yeah.
Learn that at a young age.
Oh man. No, man. Like I said, I'm not as close to the Colts. I've obviously been following the news, but it feels like we have been repeating the same message over and over again that this team has just been mediocre for a long time since Andrew Luck left and retired. This team has been mediocre. They've had some good stretches. Obviously, they get off to a hot start last year, but then it just goes into the tank.
And what's unbelievable is that was 7 years ago, brother. We're coming up on 7 years since Andrew Luck has retired, and this team has just been complacent, I guess, with that. We're just fine. Like, it feels like they're still hanging on to that,
Yeah. Coach Sheffield back in the mix. Jones probably had to do much with not wanting to face him with someone else in a year if he does get healthy, and the injury was probably why he only got 2 years. Yeah, it's probably true why he only got a couple of years just to kind of prove it this year. But
he only got 2 years because they don't know how good he's going to be. That's why he got 2 years.
Yeah, that's true. Like, but I'm interested. Like, I don't think that they really wanted to go into because the rest of the free agent market really wasn't that great. I mean, I don't think that they wanted to go after Kyler Murray, and he hasn't been great. Malik Willis was probably the next best option, or they could have gone after Tua, and I don't think really anybody wanted to go after Tua just because of how disappointing, and you don't know how much longer he's got in his career. If he gets another head injury, it might be the final one for him. So I don't know. I don't know. It's ridiculous. This free agent market wasn't great for quarterbacks. The draft this year isn't great for quarterbacks at the top. Besides, Mendoza or Ty Simpson are going to go in the first round. Other than that, it's not a super strong, unless the Colts just absolutely wanted to tank this year, which it doesn't sound like that they're going to do. Maybe they end up doing that by the time the season starts, but because the QB draft for next year is loaded with Darian Mensah, CJ Carr, Archie Manning, Dante Moore. Like, those are just 4 guys off the top of my head that are going to be, really good this upcoming season and are going to be probably, first round, if not late first round picks. So it's going to be, I don't know. We'll have to see what, as the season gets closer, maybe things change. The draft, like you said, is coming up here shortly. So we'll have to figure it out. We do want to give a quick announcement. We are going to do a bracket challenge on ESPN.
Let's go.
We will send out the link on social media. So make sure once the final bracket is announced, so make sure you stay tuned to our social media channels at Brice and DC, wherever you follow us. And we are going to do a prize with that. The only catch is you have to also be.
Yeah, we can't win it.
Well, because it would be unfair.
Which is some bull. How is that fair?
Fine. If you win, I will give you a separate prize. Okay.
Okay. And if you win, I'll give you a separate prize. We're even.
Okay. All right. That makes.
That's all I wanted.
Okay.
All right, continue. My bad.
I know. All right. So the winner is going to be a gift card to whatever local restaurant you want in town, or in the 260. It'll be a gift card.
That's scary. People will be like,
whatever restaurant. Huh?
People gonna be like, Ruth's Chris.
Well, I'm not gonna pay for the entire meal. I'm setting a limit so that you can, enjoy your meal. I'm not gonna pay for your entire meal, but it'll be a gift card to whatever your favorite local spot. And that's not a local spot. That's a chain. I'm talking local, man. I'm talking like Big Apple Pizza.
We support local here.
I'm talking Famous Taco. I'm talking Proximo. That's probably a little expensive. Baker Street, probably a little expensive, but still, I'm talking local places, not places that are chains. Even if you wanted a Coney Island gift card, I'm down. So any local spot, you're going to get a gift card. The catch is you also have to be subscribed to the show. You have to be a subscriber on the YouTube, and we'll make sure that because we can see all the people who are subscribed. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you will be eligible if you participate in the bracket challenge that we will do. But you just have to participate in the bracket challenge. The winner will get a prize, but you also have to be subscribed to the YouTube channel as well. So that's the announcement. That NCAA challenge. Subscribe to the show. And we will make sure that the winner is awarded a gift card to any local restaurant in the 260 that the winner will get. So I'm super excited for this NCAA tournament. We got selection Sunday. Today we have some automatic bids still up for grabs. The Big Ten tournament, I think the game's in about 3 hours from now. We have the Ivy League that still needs to go. We have the American Championship game and the A-10 Championship game as well. So 4 automatic bids.
Nobody cares.
Why don't you care? I just wanted to have.
Tell me who's playing. Playing.
In the A-10?
All of them.
I think it's Dayton and somebody. I don't even know if they're in the A-10 anymore, honestly. Exactly. I know Yale is in the Ivy League. They're in the Ivy League championship game. Okay.
Was that a question mark? Was that a question?
Yeah. I don't know. So can you? I want to play. I have five schools real quick that have already that are going to be in the tournament. Can you tell me what state these teams are in?
Probably not. But
this is a game to end the show here, and I want to see if you can guess where these schools are at in the country. Do you know where Kennesaw State is at? Can you give me the state?
Sounds southern. Arkansas?
Ooh, you're close. You're a good guess. It's Georgia.
No, it's southern. Dang it.
Yeah.
All right.
Furman.
Ooh. Pass?
I'll give you a hint. It's also in the South.
It's in the South?
Yeah.
Probably. You know what? Yeah. Which one, though? South Carolina.
Is it South Carolina? It is South Carolina.
Let's go. Boom.
All right.
I was lucky.
Got to make sure you're not typing away over there.
No, I'm looking.
McNeese State. McNeese State. The Cowboys.
Cowboys. That's a big hint.
Yeah.
That's a big. I mean, that's Texas, right?
Nope. They are in
what?
Lake Charles, Louisiana.
Oh, I never would have guessed that. Never.
Prairie View A&M.
What? All right.
They were an 8 seed in their conference tournament. Ended up winning. Don't be typing. You're looking. I can see your eyes. You're looking like.
I'm looking at the comments.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm looking at the comments here. This one's funny.
Coach Chef.
I knew that. I had to be one of the Carolinas. What'd you say again?
Prairie View A&M.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm passing this one.
That one is Texas.
Really?
Yeah. All right. Last one here.
Thank goodness.
High Point University.
High Point. Oh, I know this one. No, I don't. Pennsylvania?
That one's in the Carolinas as well. That one's in
North
Carolina. Yeah, North Carolina. Yeah.
Well, I had no idea. That's tough. Those are tough.
Yeah.
Like that would be a fun, like if you had like a sports, I don't know, if you're going for like a sports management class or something and you just wanted to have a fun assignment for March Madness time, that'd be a fun assignment. I think you just
that's why I wanted to bring it on here because I know you could.
I failed, but it's cool.
It probably wouldn't have been as funny for you to do it to me because I knew where a lot of those schools were. I didn't know like the exact city, but like Lehigh is in Pennsylvania. I know that.
I do know that too.
Okay, Troy. Do you know where Troy's at?
Troy.
It's in the south.
That's south. That's Texas.
No, it's Alabama.
Alabama.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, and I knew Hofstra. Hofstra's on the East Coast.
That's Pennsylvania.
And then Siena. You know where Siena is?
Pennsylvania? It's also Pennsylvania.
Hofstra? I know it's on the east.
Look, you gotta look it up too. See, you didn't know.
That one's New York. New
York. Dang it.
And then Siena. A fun fact about Siena.
Siena, is that west?
No, it's in New York as well.
I don't know that one.
Do you know who the head coach of Siena is?
No.
Taking you back. 2003, played with Carmelo. Jerry McNamara.
Oh, the point guard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Small world.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Let's do this same time next week. Let's do this at the end of the show. It's fun.
Okay. Well, we got to figure out who's still in the tournament at that time. If any of those two teams are in the tournament. We'll retest you. We'll see. We'll bring back the same team.
Yeah, give me a retest. Now you can retake your driver's test before you get the permit. I get a retest. All right.
All right. Let's end the show there. We got a huge Sunday lined up here on the show. Even for next week, make sure you follow Brice and DC. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel if you want to be a part of our tournament challenge and win a gift card to any local restaurant here in the 260. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel or follow us on Facebook or X as well. But you can only win if you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. So make sure that you are subscribed there. And we'll have interviews posted separately from Brandon Appleton, who joined us. Thank you to him joining the show. New Haven won the regional title for the first time in program history last night. And also thanks to Northrop football coach, new to the program, new to the position, for joining us. And make sure you look out for their interviews on our YouTube channel as well. For that guy, DC Hendricks, I'm Brice Vance. This has been the Sideline Sports Show. We'll see you next week.